Ukraine strikes deep. Drones and rockets rattle Russian heartland. Explosions rock arsenal as Ukraine flexes long-range muscle. In a dramatic escalation of its offensive capabilities, Ukraine has launched a series of bold attacks deep into Russian territory, sending shockwaves through Moscow's military establishment. The most recent strike targeted a major weapons depot in the Tver region, triggering an earthquake-sized blast that forced the evacuation of a nearby town. The enemy hit an ammunition depot in the area of Toropets, said Yuri Podolyaka, a Ukrainian-born, pro-Russian military blogger. Everything that can burn is already burning there and exploding. The attack, carried out by Ukrainian drones, was so massive that NASA satellites picked up intense heat sources emanating from an area of about 14 square kilometers. Earthquake monitoring stations even registered what sensors initially thought was a small tremor in the area. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, without directly referencing the target, hailed the operation's success. A very important result was achieved last night on Russian territory, and such actions weaken the enemy, Zelensky said. I thank everyone involved. Such precision is truly inspiring. HIMARS unleashed. American rockets strike Russian soil. In a significant policy shift, the Biden administration has given Ukraine the green light to use American-supplied weapons, including the formidable HIMARS rocket systems, against targets inside Russia. This decision came in response to recent Russian strikes on Kharkiv, which have displaced tens of thousands of civilians and killed scores more. The impact was immediate. Within hours of receiving permission, Ukrainian forces reportedly aimed their HIMARS launchers at the Russian city of Belgorod, just 20 miles north of the border. The attack sent shockwaves through the region, with Russian media capturing the sounds of air raid sirens and the fiery launches of air defense batteries as Ukrainian rockets thundered toward the city. This is a welcome step that will allow us now to better protect Ukraine and Ukrainians from Russian terror and attempts to expand the war, Zelensky wrote, just before the potential barrage of 660-pound rockets rained down on Belgorod. Kamikaze drones target strategic bomber base. In perhaps its most ambitious operation yet, Ukraine launched a swarm of kamikaze drones against the Angels II airbase, a key piece of Russia's long-range strike capability located deep inside Russian territory. The base, home to Russia's strategic bomber fleet, has been a launch point for countless cruise missile attacks against Ukrainian cities. While Russia's defense ministry claimed to have shot down 9 Ukrainian drones attempting to strike the airfield, social media videos showed explosions and flames reaching into the sky from the vicinity of the base. The attack demonstrates Ukraine's growing ability to hit targets far beyond the front lines, potentially forcing Russia to reconsider the security of its rear areas. Ukrainian military intelligence chief Kyrylo Budanov had recently announced the development of kamikaze drones capable of flying 1,800 kilometers. The top target for these weapons will be airfields where Russian long-range bombers attacking Ukraine, and the pilots that fly them are based, Budanov stated, foreshadowing the Angels II attack. Zelensky unveils victory plan amid Western concerns. As Ukraine flexes its newfound long-range capabilities, President Zelensky has announced that all points of Ukraine's victory plan have been finalized. The strategy, which Zelensky plans to present to us President Joe Biden during an upcoming visit to Washington, focuses on Ukraine's security, foreign military assistance, and economic support. The most important thing now is the determination to implement it, Zelensky declared in an evening address. There isn't and cannot be any alternative to peace. No freezing of the war or any other manipulations that will simply postpone Russian aggression to a later stage. Crucially, the plan includes Ukraine's recent cross-border incursion into Russia's Kursk Oblast, which has left a chunk of Russian territory under Kyiv's control. This bold move appears to be part of a larger strategy to demonstrate Ukraine's ability to take the fight to Russian soil. Western pressure mounts for territorial compromise. Despite Ukraine's recent military successes and Zelensky's confident rhetoric, there are signs that some of Kyiv's Western allies may be pushing for a less ambitious endgame. Yegor Chernev, the head of the Verkhovna Rada's Committee on National Security, Defense and Intelligence, has revealed that Ukraine is facing pressure to abandon its demands for the restoration of its 1991 borders. There is such pressure. It does exist, Chernev stated in a recent interview. Such suggestions pop up periodically in the Western media. Some argue that Ukraine needs to reconsider its approach. Perhaps it will not be a victory within the borders of 1991, but in some other borders and realities. This pressure comes as some Western officials reportedly begin to consider the possibility of ending the war through negotiations as part of a 2025 strategy. Bloomberg sources indicate that these discussions have emerged due to the lack of significant breakthroughs on the battlefield and the approach of another winter. A delicate balance, victory versus negotiation. As Ukraine demonstrates its growing ability to strike deep into Russian territory, the country finds itself at a crossroads. On one hand, its recent military successes and Zelensky's victory plan suggest a determination to continue fighting until all Ukrainian territory is liberated. On the other, pressure from some Western allies to consider a negotiated settlement is growing. The coming months will be crucial in determining which path Ukraine ultimately takes. Will Zelensky's bold strategy, backed by increasingly sophisticated Western weapons, lead to further gains on the battlefield? Or will the realities of a protracted conflict force Ukraine to the negotiating table, potentially accepting less than full restoration of its pre-2014 borders? As winter approaches and the war grinds on, one thing is clear: Ukraine's recent long-range strikes have changed the calculus of the conflict, forcing both Russia and the West to reassess their strategies in this high-stakes geopolitical struggle. Subscribe for more.